Hey y'all, so when you think of New York City, also known as the Big Apple, you think of Broadway shows, Times Square, all the lights, taking the subway, eating good food, and having a good time, right? Well, it wasn't the case for these travelers. In these videos, we take a look at people who traveled to New York City and it was a complete disaster. Let's take a look.
I'm finally ready. Let's talk about the worst hotel experience that I have ever had in my entire life. Y'all know I stay at a lot of hotels. This takes the cake. Worst experience by far. The year was 2024. I just recently came back from New York. I was in New York for New York Fashion Week. And out of all the things that were being scheduled for me, the hotel was one thing that I decided to choose myself. This is where my type A Virgo rising personality gets in the way of a lot of things, but I digress. After watching a ton of TikTok reviews and looking through a lot of reviews online, I ended up booking at the Public Hotel. I booked a queen room on a high floor, which is like second or third tier as far as their room type levels go. I looked into it. It looked like it was going to be nice. The reviews were nice. People go there all the time. I lived in New York for 8 years. I went to the Public plenty of times to go to the bar, the restaurants. Like, it's a vibe, usually. I had no idea what it was like to actually stay in one of the rooms there. As you guys saw, there was a lot of chaos prior to me even getting to New York, prior to my plane even landing on New York soil. A lot of shit was just going wrong, and it was just like not my day already. And then I get to the hotel and it is 11:45 p.m. I go to check in. Didn't realize that their check-in was a self check-in, which initially didn't really bother me. I was like, oh cool, like self check-in. Little did I fucking know, everything in that hotel is a self DIY moment. We'll get there. So I attempt to check in on the iPad and a box pops up and is like, your room is not ready. We can't check you in. So I'm like, room's not ready. It's 11:45 p.m. So I asked the guy who was there. There was someone there at the check-in. It's not letting me check in on the screen. Like, can you help me? He's like, oh yeah, no problem. So he, nothing but nice, goes and tries to check me in. He's like, yeah, it's not letting you check in because your room has not been inspected yet. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm here and it's late and I don't know, like, what time is your check-in? Like, check-in is usually like between 3-4 p.m. I stay in a lot of hotels, so I know this. So he was like, yeah, it is, but for some reason, like, the inspection hasn't happened yet. Like, let me call right now and have somebody go take a look for you. So he gets somebody to go take a look. 25 minutes later-ish, he lets me know that the room is ready, and he hands me the 3 keys that I requested. Loose keys, just like 3 loose keys, no envelope, no nothing, which to me, I was just kind of like, interesting, but whatever. I'm just trying to take a shower and go to bed. I go up to my room. I bring my own bags to my room. I usually do that anyway when I'm staying at a hotel, just because like I want my stuff right now. I'm just like that. I get to my room and immediately I'm struck by how tiny it is. Like, very, very tiny. Like, I think it's advertised at 205 square feet, but the bitch was looking very, very small. I tried to put both arms out to like touch both sides of the wall from the walk-in, and I couldn't. It was so narrow. And it wasn't like just a narrow walkway. It was just narrow, period. The sink for the bathroom was outside of the bathroom, which, no shade, hotels that I can't with the sink outside of the bathroom. I can't with that. I just can't with that. Not at a luxury hotel. I just feel like, depending on what you're paying, obviously if you're paying at a lower price point, totally. Like, I stay in hotels like that all the time when we travel for catfish. But when you're paying over $2,000 for a stay at a luxury hotel, I just feel like the sink should be in the bathroom, personally. And that's what I was paying. It was like $1,900 before taxes and fees. And after that, it was going to be $2,500 for my full-length stay, which I think was going to be like 6 days. Then I notice how tiny the bathroom is. Then I notice how tiny just everything is. Like, everything's just really small. And I am there for Fashion Week, so I was going to have a glam team coming in, and I needed space. So I was like, you know what? I actually need to size up a room. So I call downstairs, and the guy who answered the phone was nothing but nice. I have to stress this. The staff there were so kind. It has nothing to do with the staff. They were very, very nice. I just think that their entire business model at this hotel is shit. Getting back to the story. So I call him. I'm like, hey, like this room is just really, really small. I think I'm going to need to size up for sure. I have glam coming. Like, what do you recommend? He told me what he recommended, which was like, I think 2 tiers up. And I was like, okay, great. Like, let's move me into that ASAP. So he said, okay, we can do it tomorrow. So I was like, okay, great. Get off the phone with him. I'm like, okay, I'm calling my boyfriend. I'm like, I'm going to take a shower, blah, blah. As I'm on the phone with him, I take a look at the TV. And if you saw my first TikTok, you would see that there was, I don't know if somebody was fucking or fighting, but there was a giant gaping hole in the television. Shattered. So I'm like, okay. First of all, what happened here? Secondly, and there was like some red marks on the wood in the entryway. So I was like, I don't know if that's blood. I don't know if that's paint. I don't know what that is. But it looks like there have been signs of a struggle in this room. And I don't want to be a part of it. And also, I don't want to pay for this shit. If they don't know about this, I need to let them know about this because this is insane. Go to turn on the TV because I'm like, surely in my, I don't know, I was just tired and delusional at this point. But I'm like, surely the TV still works because they wouldn't put me in a room with a TV that doesn't work when I'm paying $2,500 for this room. Lo and behold, I turn on the TV and it lights up like a Christmas tree, and not in a good way. It's busted. The TV is busted. So I call back down. Same guy answers the phone. I'm like, hi, just want to let you know the TV is busted in this room. There's a hole in it. And he's like, oh yes, we are aware of the hole. You're aware of the hole. Okay. But you still put me in. But I had to wait to check in because the room had to be inspected. And when you inspected, you saw the hole, but you still put me in the room because you were aware of the hole. Now you got me fucked up a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I don't really understand how you could put somebody in a room like this, but I definitely am going to need to move to that other room tomorrow, for sure, without a shadow of a doubt. So he's like, you know what? Yes. And in addition to that, I'm going to upgrade you again. So like a 3-tier upgrade to an even bigger room. The only thing, he did tell me this, the only caveat is that it is a connecting room. So he said, so you may hear some noise. I said, okay, when we say some, how much is some? How much is a some? He was like, there may be some noise. Just warning you. Okay. We'll see. I've stayed in connecting rooms before, haven't heard anything, some noise. It is a popular hotel. People go there to party. So like maybe that's what he means. Maybe there is a chance that there could be some noise. Not exactly sure. But I need to get the fuck out of this. I get off the phone with him. I immediately start crying just because like there are so many other things just like going wrong. And this was just like the cherry on top. I was just like, wow. Great intro back to the city. Thank you for the warm welcome. Following day rolls around. I have my full day. They let me know that the room is ready, the other room, and that they can move all of my bags to the new room without me being there. I'm like, perfect. So as I'm out gallivanting, I had a bunch of shows to go to, and I was meeting up with my sisters to hang out. I got back to the hotel at a certain point to like pack up my stuff so that they could move it. They moved it. And they let me see the room first, and I was like, oh, the room is so much bigger. It's way more spacious. Like, this will work. I come back at 1:30 a.m. to this same room after all my stuff has been moved into it, and I hear the noise. And not just any noise.
Rating my trip to New York whilst I get ready. Off the bat, I'm going to give it a -4 points for the police in the airport. Now, I completely get, well, not police, but like the people that assess if you're dangerous or not. I totally get that you need to figure out if people are dangerous or not. Like, you're doing a good job, but do you have to be rude about it? I am literally, at the time, a 17-year-old girl on a school trip. There is literally no need to be rude to me. So yeah, immediately off the bat, I was a bit like, okay, I've only just entered New York and people are already being rude. I'm going to give +2 points to the fact that I saw my first ever yellow school bus. As someone who avidly watched a lot of American TV shows, the yellow school bus is just iconic. So the first time I saw it, I was immediately excited. If you have been to New York, you will know how confusing their subway system is if you've never used it before. So a minus 10 points to the fact that I went into the subway area, went to one of the people that worked there and was like, can you please tell me what train I need to get on to get to X place? He straight up looks at me and says, you should just walk 5 blocks. It's so much easier. Okay, that's totally not the New York accent, but go with it. I looked at him like, but was that the question? I'm literally asking the most basic question. Just tell me which train. I'm not asking you to tell me to walk 5 blocks. What does 5 blocks mean? In which direction? What do you mean? Like, I was like, you're literally doing a job. How are you being so unhelpful right now? On the topic of unhelpful people, I went into 7-Eleven, which, iconic by the way. And I didn't really get how the money thing worked, like the cents and all different like sizes and what's what. And I was struggling to come up with the amount of money that the cashier was asking me to give him. So I was just like, which coin is it? This sounds so stupid, but I was genuinely confused. And bro, I was 17, okay? Allow me. He literally looked at me and was like, do you not know your own money, bro? Like, if someone came to the UK and didn't know what coin was what, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's just this one. Why are you being so unhelpful? Just tell me. -3 for that interaction. I'm gonna say though, +10 for the Broadway show that I went to watch. I went to watch Anastasia because I was on this like performing arts trip with my college, and 10 out of 10, bro. I thoroughly enjoyed that performance. But we also went to watch Phantom of the Opera and I hated it. And I don't know whether I can blame that on New York, but it was a terrible show. -5. We went to go see the Statue of Liberty. There was this really beautiful backdrop of all the buildings and stuff. So +10 for that. That was really beautiful. I have so many other things I could say.
Will I tell you how I was attacked in New York City? I really was a bit nervous to talk about it on here because it did really shake me up, and I knew that like if it got any views there would be people commenting like nasty stuff about it. My boyfriend was really tired one of the days that we were in New York City and didn't want to go out and do anything, and I didn't want to waste the daylight. I really wanted to go to Central Park and like walk around and stuff, so I was like, that's fine, I'll just go by myself to Central Park for a little bit. So I get about 2 minutes from the hotel. I haven't even crossed the road, like I'm literally sitting at the traffic lights, and suddenly I feel just a like really hard tap on my shoulder. I was assuming that it was my boyfriend, that he'd like changed his mind and just come out for a walk with me, because he does that, like he'll come over and try to give me a fright or whatever. So I barely reacted. I like turned around and was just like, but he wasn't there. And I turned around and looked forward, and this guy, like a homeless guy, just jumps out in front of me and just goes like right in my face, arms in the air, and goes "Rah!" And like even saying it now it sounds like almost funny, but honestly it was like terrifying. Like I did not know what he was going to do. I didn't know if he was going to hurt me. Obviously he's done that to scare me, so I'm like, what's going to happen next? I didn't want to look down in case like anything was out or whatever, because I wasn't sure if it was that type of thing. And I didn't even scream. I got such a fright. I was just like, and like turned around and walked really fast in the opposite direction across the other road. I like stood next to this girl who was standing facing like as if she was about to cross, like waiting for the thing to go, and she was like still staring forward. She went, "Are you okay?" And I was like uh-huh, and I was trying to keep it together. I was like so in shock, and she just went, "A man spat on me in the subway the other day." And I was like, I had no idea what to say. Like I was just like so grateful that she was saying anything to me, because there were people around when that happened and nobody said anything. And she even said that, she was like, I know nobody said anything or did anything, but I think they were all scared too, like nobody knew what he was gonna do. And I was just like, yeah. And she was like, do you want to walk with me? And like she walked with me and asked where I was going and stuff. She was like an angel. Like she made the whole thing so much better, because I was so scared he was going to follow me, because he kept, when I walked away from him, he did keep saying like, I wasn't trying to hurt you or anything like that. And I was like, oh, he wants to like keep talking to me. So it really helped that I had somebody to walk with. And as soon as me and that girl parted ways, I phoned my boyfriend to come and meet me. Like I was just crying. That's the first time I cried. I didn't cry to the girl or anything like that. As soon as I walked away and I got on the phone to my boyfriend, I just burst into tears. And he came and met me. The nearest thing to me that I knew what it was to ask him to come meet me was Trump Tower. So I like went to Trump Tower and waited for him, and then when he got there, we like sat down on a bench in Trump Tower, and I like was bawling my eyes out, and the security guards were like looking at him like is she okay? And he's just like, and it must have made him look like so bad. I will be back. I loved New York, but that was so scary. I would not go outside by myself again. I was looking around every time I was out and about after that.
Okay, I would like to tell everyone about the insanity that happened to me in New York City last week. So randomly, just by happenstance, just by coincidence, I got 4 days in a row off of work. I didn't ask for it, but it was just kind of a happy coincidence. I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. Maybe I should do something fun for myself. And I actually used to live in New York City. I lived there in 2016 and again in 2019. And I worked at the New York Aquarium. Shout out, I love you guys. So I decided to go to New York City because I really love the city, and I already roughly knew where I wanted to go, and I had some people I wanted to meet, and where I wanted to stay. When I lived in New York City, I lived in Far Rockaway, more specifically Broad Channel, which is kind of on the outskirts of Queens. But I did know that if you take the A train, you can literally take the A train all the way to Manhattan. It's pretty much a straight shot. So I decided, okay, I'll book a hotel in Rockaway, and I was recommended by a friend to use an app called Hopper to do so. I looked up Far Rockaway hotels. The hotel said Rockaway, so I was like, oh, perfect, this is great. And I used Spirit Airlines to fly into Newark. I've never flown into Newark before. Usually I use JFK, but this time they had cheaper flights to Newark. So, but even before I left my hometown here in Florida, things went awry. So I was at the airport in Florida, getting ready. I go to the bathroom. I take off my smartwatch to wash my hands, and that was my first mistake, because it was actually only a few months ago that my parents were visiting me here in Florida, and I took off my smartwatch to wash my hands, and I left it in the bathroom, and thankfully my mom saw it and said, no, you shouldn't take it off. I was like, oh, okay, you're right. And a few years ago, oh my god, I'm such an idiot. A few years ago, I had this gorgeous pearl ring that I got in Hawaii, and I went on vacation to Tokyo with my sister and my mom, and the same thing happened. I took it off to wash my hands, I left it, and it's gone. I have not seen it since, and I should have learned my lesson, but I guess third time's a charm. JM, you're an idiot. So yeah, I took off my smartwatch in order to wash my hands, left it at the airport bathroom, and I have not seen it since. So even though I did file a report with the airport lost and found, I'm pretty sure it's gone. I'm so mad at myself. So even before leaving Orlando, I've already screwed up here, but it gets better or worse depending on your point of view. So I fly into New Jersey, everything's fine. I take the express train. It's only like 20-25 minutes express train for less than $20 from the New York airport straight to Penn Station, which if you didn't know is the subway station right next to Madison Square Garden. Smack dab in the middle of Manhattan. Took it there, went to Times Square, took some selfies, and keep in mind, I have everything with me. So Spirit Airlines is one of those itty-bitty cheapo airlines that anything more than a backpack, you have to pay extra. So literally everything I had for this weekend was in this backpack that I had. I had everything. So I went to Times Square, took a couple selfies, it was great, and I thought, I do want to go out tonight, but I would like to maybe take a nap or something, or chill out at the hotel first, so let me find the best route. I thought, because it was Rockaway, that it would just take, I could just take the A train straight out there. I bring up the address of the hotel on my phone. Turns out it wasn't even in the state of New York. It was in Wrightstown, New Jersey. I have no clue where that is. No offense to those of you who live in Wrightstown. It was a 4-hour train ride, and it was like hopping buses and trains. Yeah, 4 hours. And if I wanted to take an Uber, it would have been over $100. I was like, no, this can't be right. I'm not going to stay there. I was flabbergasted. I was like, wait, it said Far Rockaway. Apparently, with this app Hopper, even if you say, I want to stay in this town, I want to stay in Rockaway, New York, it's going to take like sponsors or cheaper options that are like within a 10-hour drive or something. I don't know, but somehow I ended up with this because it was a cheaper option. Oh my god. Yeah, if you do use an app like Hopper or Expedia, just make sure that you double, triple check, because so you don't make the same mistake. So I call the hotel and I tell them, yeah, I have a reservation. And keep in mind, I'm still in the middle of Times Square with everything on my back. And my phone's running out of battery. I couldn't charge my phone. I had nowhere to charge my phone. People in New York know that, like, it's not like most places where you can just walk into a Starbucks and say, hey, where's an outlet? Can I charge my phone? New York is not like that. But yeah, my phone was running out of battery, but I call the hotel and I say, hey, I meant to book this in New York. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Could I cancel my reservation? Could I get a partial refund? Is that possible? The guy said, well, it looks like you booked through an app, so unfortunately there's nothing I can do. I can't even cancel the reservation. It has to be through the app. So I call the app. Well, first off, I went to the app and I tried to say contact us, and of course it was like, you can email us, you can chat with us, you can chat with our bot. I was like, no, just give me a freaking phone number. Oh my gods. I finally got a phone number and the guy says, oh no, you'd have to call the hotel to cancel. And I said, no, I called the hotel just now. They said I have to call you. And he sounded sympathetic. I hope he was sympathetic. But he said, okay, I can't do anything for you right now. I'll have to email someone and get it sorted out. Hold on to that. Put that away. So I was like, shoot, like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. So first I had to look up places to charge your phone at Times Square. One of the places, interestingly enough, that did have a charger was the Gap store, the really big one, where it's like $47 for a bracelet or like $4,700 for a white t-shirt that I could get at Walmart. But, you know, they had some chairs in there next to their outlets, and I just sat in there for like 2 hours just charging my phone, which thankfully they didn't mind. I was worried they were going to like yell at me or something, but they didn't. But I was like, crap, where am I going to go? So I tried to think, you know, should I phone a friend? Should I, like, cause I was meeting people that I knew later that night, like, and I tried, but they didn't answer. And I didn't want to call my mom. She didn't even know I was in New York, because understandably so, she does tend to get like really like, oh my gosh, are you okay? You're alone in New York City, like 0 to 100 panic. But I felt that I didn't have a choice, and I called her, and of course she was panicked, and she was like, oh my god, where are you? I was like, I'm in Manhattan. Like, I'm sorry, I'm at the Taco Bell or the Gap in Manhattan. Yeah, so, and unfortunately, of course, she was like, well, there's not much I can do for you, but, you know, please tell me, like, if you figure it out. So, and I was really tired at this point, because I can't sleep on planes, and my flight that morning was like at 5 a.m., so I was so tired. So honestly, I literally Googled like places to nap in Times Square, and thankfully came up with a hostel. I don't know why I didn't think of a hostel first, because I'm not against sleeping in hostels. I know that they are definitely hit or miss depending on where you are and depending on which place you stay at. But I was like, why didn't I think of this before? That would have been a great idea. And I found a postel, which is a posh hostel, right there in Manhattan, like only a couple blocks from Times Square, which was about the same price as my hotel in New Jersey. So I went there, and I didn't get a room, obviously, because they don't have rooms. I got a pod. It was kind of like a Japanese pod, in that, like, yes, there were several beds in each room, but, like, the beds were, like, enclosed, which was really nice. So, I got a pod there, and thankfully I was able to take a nap, and I told my mom, I was like, I found a place, it's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. But it gets better. Oh my lords. So yeah, that night I went, met some people. It was fun. The next night, and everything was fine at the hostel. The next night, I went to a comedy show, which one of my friends that was in the area, she was working at the bar that the comedy show happened at, and that was a cluster fudge in itself. Oh my gosh, literally, I'm gonna have to make a separate TikTok for that comedy show. It went off the rails, and I don't mean in the sense of like, oh, it was so great. I mean in the sense of like, the police had to be called. That's all I'm gonna say. You stay in my channel, check out my other